Hey everybody, it's Corporal Speculation, and today I'm bringing you a video about all this talk about the 50-year mortgage. And I just want to give you my initial thoughts on it, which is, Jesus Christ, 50 years, man. 50 years is a long time to be in debt. 50 years is a long time. You know, you get a mortgage when you're 25 and that's not paid off until you're 75? Jesus. You know what I'm saying? That's insanity. I mean, this can't continue. You know, I mean, we clearly have a broken system. Inflation is too high. We got to figure out how to put this genie back in the bottle. It's way too much. I wanted to throw some numbers at you guys. You know, I just looked this up really quick on a mortgage calculator. So if you were to grab a $250,000 home and had a 7% interest rate, 15 years, total life with a loan, you're paying $150,000 approximately. Easy numbers, I'm not going to. If it was a 30-year loan, you're paying $350,000. For a 50-year loan, you're paying $650,000 over the life of the loan. That's insanity. It's just too much. It's too much. And I'm a free market guy. I'm a, live and let live. Everybody can make the decisions that they're making type of guy. If you and your bank want to enter into a contract like that, I'm not the guy who's going to stand in your way. Ultimately, everybody's got to make the right call for them. What I want to call attention to is just how out of control this pricing curve is. And if we don't get this reeled in, we're going to have a tough time. I mean, really, even just look at the biology of it. If there was a species that couldn't get itself into a position where it was comfortable having children until it was 35 years old, and realistically it evolved to have children at 18 years old, I mean, we're talking about extinction level incompatibility between biologic and the life that species is living. I mean, that's how far off we are. This is insanity. We are so far off from what we are built to do, and a lot of it comes down to this. I mean, average home buyer this year is 40 years old. You know, for a society to continue, it needs a birth rate of 2.1, and we're nowhere near that. Nowhere in the entire West are we near that. And a big part of it is people can't get stable. Now, I'm lucky, I was able to move to an area where I could get a house in 2015 for about $100,000. So I'm doing okay, personally, but I see the kids behind me 10 years my junior, and I feel terrible for them. I mean, it is really tough out there. And the housing, it's getting worse. It's getting worse and worse and worse. In 1970, the average house was $25,000. By 2000, the year 2000, that number was up to 119,000. And this year, the median house price is $410,000. What are we doing? I mean, that's almost $500,000 for a starter home. I mean, are we crazy? And I understand inflation is an issue. That's a thing that does happen. Wages have gone up in that time as well. But not to the same extent, nowhere near the same extent. And if we don't figure out how to put this genie back in the bottle, we're going to have a lot of problems. We're going to have a lot of problems. I tell you, go back and read some history. All the worst regimes in the history of mankind, as a prerequisite, the government that came before them had terrible economic situations that were ongoing for years and years and years. If you've got a situation where the young men in your country just absolutely cannot provide for a family until they're in their 30s, it's not going to end well. People become detached from their system. And it breaks my heart. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a patriot. I love this country. I see so many people, so many kids that just do not share my view, even peers, people my age that absolutely don't think of themselves as patriots. They don't love this country in the way that I do. And I want people to love this country. I want people to love the United States of America. We are the greatest country on earth. I fought for this country. But how can we expect them to love a system where they can't even afford a place to live, a home, land of their own? If you go back to John Locke, it was pursuit of property was one of the key tenets that a society needed to be built on. And if the average starting home cost over $500,000, how in the world do we ever expect people to fall in love with the United States and the American dream and really truly believe that we do live under the greatest system? And why should we expect them not to jump in line with whatever far right-wing extremists or far left-wing extremists that scares the crap out of us when that person starts promising that they're going to fix the economic situation that the political powers that be just seem to have no energy to do? Listen, I'm telling you guys, this is one of the issues of our day. We've kicked the can down the road over and over and over again, and we can only kick it so far. And if we don't resolve this problem and figure out a way to rein in government spending and reduce inflation, get it to stop altogether for decades. I mean, that's what we need. I don't know. I don't know how the country continues. It's getting to a point where it's just out of control. And I'm looking at this 50-year mortgage. And again, I'm not here telling you, if you want to start your life and this is a way that you can do it, I'm not standing in your way. It's just, I don't know how we can have the conversation about a 50-year mortgage and not just take a breath and talk about how in the world did we get here? How is it so expensive to buy a home? What can we do differently? What are the real drivers behind this? Why is everything getting more expensive? How did we onboard in the 1990s Chinese slave level labor, absolutely low cost labor, and things continue to get more and more and more expensive? Why did things shoot up in cost under COVID? What's going on here? Let's think about it. Let's really work on some solutions and try and get ourselves back into a better spot as a country. America is the greatest country on earth. It really is. I honestly believe that. We're in a tough way right now, economically speaking. We got to figure out a way out of it. And I think the way out of it is we've got to reduce government spending. I mean, the federal government is just too big. American people shouldn't have to pay or work for 3 months just to support it. And all that money that's getting pushed out is what's causing the costs of everything to rise. And now we're to a point where, the average first-time home buyer is 40 years old. It's unsustainable on a societal level. And that which is unsustainable will not be sustained. That's the reality of it. And it's tough, but that's the reality. And so the question that we have to ask ourselves is, do we continue to kick the can down the road and ignore this problem that I think everybody sees? It's not a left versus right thing. I'm not accusing anybody. It's not your fault. And it's not one side or the other. This is clearly a bipartisan issue, but do we kick the can down the road until the system comes undone and then we figure it out then? Or do we start taking steps now to reduce the scope and size of the government, reduce the amount of money that's being injected into the system all the time, and figure out a way to lower these costs so that future generations can have a good country to live in? And I think we really, really, really need to look at this issue and figure out what the way forward is. That's all I got, though. Feel free to leave me a comment, a like, a subscribe. Did I get it wrong? Always love to hear other people's perspectives. And I hope everybody has a fantastic Veterans Day. Thanks, everybody.